break. 80,000 voices.
Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. So today we have another live. Nigerian football fans, how you feeling about the loss, draw to South Africa, which has just clouded, the qualification skies for the Nigerian Super Eagles. Just some opinions on that one, let me know. But in this video, I was thinking about this yesterday, after the game this morning. I'm saying, are you sure Eric Chill is the guy that you want to have on the team going forward as a coach? Now, some people will be right in saying, he hasn't had that much time. That he hasn't had that much time, so he's had 2 wins and 2 draws. So looking at that, it's not such a bad outcome, not a bad outlay of results, given that some would argue that the damage was already done, was already done in the previous fixtures prior to his being signed as the head coach of Nigeria Super Eagles. Now, some fair points, but looking at the Super Eagles under Eric Chill, there is no identity. There is no identity. One game you want to play with a high line. The next game you want to play deep. One game you're having your wingers playing as 10s. The next moment you're having your wingers playing as strikers. It's super confusing in my own opinion, even for the players, especially when these players are young in human terms, but in player terms, in football. In their football lives, they are fully mature professionals who are used to playing a particular way. The Lookman, for instance, at Atalanta, played as a winger. At Charlton, grew up playing as a winger. All the clubs he moved to, he played as a winger. Then suddenly under Eric Chill, I'm going to move you up and down. I'll play you as a 10. I'll play you as a striker, and then when and if I like, I may play you out wide. For me, that is just craziness, right? And there's no way it's going to work. There's no way it's going to work. So this may seem like an overreaction in some people's eyes, but for me, I don't think it is, because I look at Nigerian Super Eagles and I'm thinking, which coach out there can Nigeria go for that would normally, naturally match the attributes that the Super Eagles have? That will match what Victor Osimhen can give to you. That will match what Chukwueze can give to you. That will match what Philip Potele can give to you. And there was one name that came to mind. He's just been sacked. Now, this may not happen because I'm sure probably, the NFF would go on about to say they have no money to meet his wage demands. But still, just for us to have something to talk about, to have a nice point of discussion, because you can't look at how Eric Chill performed and say that's brilliant. For me, I look at Nuno Espírito Santo, the coach of Nottingham Forest. He's just been sacked. Now, that's a huge name. Whether the NFF will go for him, I don't know. Maybe they want to keep Eric Chill, I don't know. But the way I look at him, the way he's played, right, the way he set up Nottingham Forest in the last season, got them to qualify for Europe. You can see proper defensive structure. He gave Nottingham Forest a clear identity. And look at the defense. That's one issue that we have. You don't have a clear identity, because one moment you want to play with a high line, the next moment you want to play with a slow defender in a deep block. So for me, Nuno comes in. Look at Nottingham Forest, how they play. Nottingham Forest's success, in my opinion, was built on a solid defense and then super amazing on the counter-attack. Super amazing on the counter-attack. Look at what he did with Chris Wood. Look at how he uses his white players. Look at how he uses his white players, like of Elanga before Elanga joined Newcastle United, Hudson-Odoi. And wingers, that is something Nigeria always creates, always produces. Whether they're talking about grassroots talent, whether they're talking about dual nationals over the seas, miles and miles away, wingers, pacey wingers is something Nigeria creates, no issues whatsoever. So Nigerian systems, Nigerian style of play should be based on the talents that it produces normally. You don't have to force it. When you look at what's the face, look at Spain, no matter how they tweak the formation a bit, it's always possession based. Because whatever you want to put it down to, they always come up with these deep line playmakers that are very good on the ball. They come up with the midfielders like your Pedris, like your Iniestas. Always, every generation they have multiple they have this creative midfielders and they produce them in a large number. So their football is based on possession. Now you may tweak it a bit and say maybe we'll press a bit higher under this coach, but overall possession based. So give me Nuno. Nigeria needs a coach that comes in, doesn't want to be a researcher, doesn't want to be an engineer, just wants to be a coach. Doesn't have this super ego of I want to change the game. I want to play a left back at center mid because that's a new style, my style of football. Nigeria needs a coach that would give the team real identity. Identity from the Super Eagles down to the Flying Eagles, the Golden Eagles on the 17 side, even if possible to club football. Because yesterday, watching that game was just annoying for me. I don't know about you, but for me, it was really annoying and frustrated. Watching Ademola Lookman wallow in the 18-yard box, wallow in that 9 position. And Nuno, I've not just picked Nuno at random. I looked at how he seems play. Because it's one thing where, and this is where the NFF come in. This is where you have to hold them to ransom. We have to hold them responsible. We have to hold the NFF responsible. You look at your team, you look at the Nigerian Super Eagles, you look at the Flying Eagles, you should ask yourself, what kind of players do we produce? What type of players do we produce? Pacey forwards, pacey wingers, pacey fullbacks? Maybe we should look for a coach whose natural style of play is based on wing play. And we wouldn't have to force him to change his style of play. Because let me tell you, even the worst Nigerian winger has pace. That's one thing that is similar to that Nigeria shares with England. Even the worst winger has pace. The winger that can't dribble anyone has pace. So that means if you go for the best, you're going to get a winger with pace, skill, production. And people don't understand how important it is to play players in their natural position. It's just like every other job, any other job. If you're a carpenter and suddenly for a company, let's say you're a carpenter for a company, and someone comes in and says, okay, it's still a handyman type of job. I want you to be a plumber. Like, wouldn't you feel, you would feel odd, like, what are we doing here? What if you're a lawyer, right? If you're a lawyer for a top law firm, and then someone comes and says, okay, I want you to be a project manager. It will be crazy to you. The same thing applies to football. You see a winger, has been playing as a winger, producing as a winger, and then you say, no, I'm going to play you as a striker. It doesn't work, especially in international football. In international football where, you don't have months and months and months to coach these players. You should be looking at what they do at their clubs. Oh, he's a very good striker for his club. He scored tons of goals. All right, playing as a typical number 9. Okay, he is a fullback. he plays for maybe Nottingham Forest, like Orlando. He plays for, let's say Real Madrid. He is a very good attack-minded fullback. Okay, that should form the basis of how you use the team. And Nuno, why I've called his name out, is because he does that normally. And that's what he did with Nottingham Forest. Compact, being able to defend properly, because that has been Nigeria's problem as well. I know everyone looks at the attack of the Flying Eagles, and say don't score enough goals, we don't take our chances. Fair point. That's a fair point to make, 110%. But also defending, we let in a lot of cheap goals. The Nigerian Super Eagles let in a lot of cheap goals, a lot of sloppy goals. And Nuno would take that out of the game, would take that out of the Super Eagles. Wing play, when you want Nottingham Forest, they punched above their weight. Look at what he did with Chris Wood. Prior to Nottingham Forest, Chris Wood was a so-so striker in the Premier League. But Nuno came in, changed it up. So can you imagine what he can do with the Victor Osimhen or Tolaru Kodare? Think about it. For me, I say, give me Nuno. How do we save Nigerian football? We have to go back to basics. Give the team that identity that is lacking. Nigeria's football has always been based on wing play. Some people say wing football is dead. No, it's not. And even if it's dead, the good thing about football is teams play with different styles based on the players they have. So you can't tell me where you have Ademola Lookman, Philip Botele, Samuel Chukwueze, Noah Sternberg. You have all these sort of wingers. Suddenly, you want to now force them to become tens, and agree that makes sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. So I say it again. Give me Nuno. Some people say, "Oh, Eric Chale should take Nigeria to the AFCON." On the basis of what is shown, for me, he doesn't have my trust. And of course, having my trust is not important. If the NFF says he should remain as a coach, he would remain as a coach. I've watched this game time and time again. I watched the Rwanda game, played Ola out of position for no reason. For no reason. And for me, I don't think the Nigerian Super Eagles needs that type of management. For me, I think you need to use the players. You need to use, the players you have in their rightful positions, play them to their strengths, and then you can now judge if the players are poor, if the players are not good enough. So that's why I've said, for me, give me Nuno. Give me Nuno. Give me Nuno. It's going to be super expensive. I don't think the NFF will want to pay that, because probably it will take a lot from their budget. And of course, it will deny them some of those, little things that they'd like to keep for themselves. And maybe he'll be too stubborn and wouldn't want to invite some ineligible player skill-wise to the team. And that would be an issue for them. Can you imagine the system? Orlando would be at right back comfortably. Maybe Calvin Bassey and Benjamin Frederick will be at heart of that defense. Even if he uses Trus Ekong, it will be in a different way. I know Trus Ekong right now is a scapegoat. But ask yourself this question. You're playing with a slow, aging defender. However, he has experience. But what was the protection in front of him like? What was the protection like? You had Wilfred Ndidi, and that was it. Meanwhile, in that team, you had Rafael Onyedika, you had Uche Crisantos all on the bench. In a Nuno team, you would have had both players starting in front of the back four, and that would immediately give protection to your Trus Ekong. Immediately, that's what will happen, right? That was what would happen. That's what happened. Now, some people might say, oh, Nuno's game is a bit too defensive and all that. But that will be playing to Nigeria's strength. Look at how they set up here, right? We're going to sit deep. You want to press us, we will sit deep. But once we win that ball off you, lightning quick counterattacks. Lightning quick counterattacks. And that just fits Nigerian football. You've got Osimhen, pacey. You've got Ademola Lookman, pacey. You've got maybe Simon Moses, Samuel Chukwueze, pacey. So the counterattack can go like this. If you add a Philip Potele, same thing. Instantly, hit on the break, boom, they're going. Look at what he's done with Chris Wood. Can you imagine Victor Osimhen under him as a striker? Look at how he used Ola, brought the best out of him. So these are the kind of coaches we should be going for. Now you may say, he may be too expensive, maybe unable to afford his wages. Don't get me wrong, they can't afford his wages if they want to. But even if you're not going for a Nuno, how about you go for a coach that just keeps things simple? Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And then what you then do is once this style of play is implemented, hey, cheers, Microphone Samurai. You want to join the discussion? I'll drop the link if you want to join. That's fine. If you don't, you can comment as well. That's also fine. So for me, that is the issue there, right? Get a coach that comes up with a definite identity, a clear identity that you can then translate to, the under 20s, under 17 teams, and they all play the same style, so that it becomes easier for you to integrate them into the first team. Because if the Flying Eagles are playing 4-3-3, counter-attacking football, if the Golden Eagles are playing, 4-3-3, counter-attacking football, easy. You can easily integrate them into the senior team as they progress. Look at Shola Ogundona. How many people know him? But he's got pace. All the strikers that we have. Thanks, Ubina. Thanks, Ubina. Thanks, Ubina, for that. Love your comments. Love your comment. Nice comment. Keep your comments coming. Yeah, that says we do actually need a top coach. I agree. It's high time that Nigeria, the Nigerian Super Eagles, the NFF, become obsessed with winning. It's high time become obsessed with winning. High time become obsessed with winning. You need a coach that keeps it simple. The problem with a lot of young coaches, like your Eric Chill, is they come into a job and they feel like they want the way to show what they can do is to overly complicate things. Play a fullback in midfield, play winger in central positions. That is my style of football. Other coaches, the thing about football is other coaches are already thinking of ways to nullify the strengths of your team. So you as a coach, don't nullify the strengths of your own team. And that's what Eric Chill did yesterday. That's what he did. He didn't. Ademola Lookman should have been on that left wing. He played him for whatever reason in the attack. He played him in the attack. For me, that is absolute craziness. Played him in the attack. Played him as a 9 or a striking partner with Cyril Dessers. For me, that is not good enough. Look at Brazil, they got Ancelotti. Now you can say Ancelotti is at a higher level than Nottingham Forest, than Nuno. Fair play. You can also argue that Real Madrid is a higher level than Nottingham Forest. Fair play. You can maybe argue as well that maybe Brazil higher level than Nigeria. Okay, no argument. So that means we should be able to get someone like a Nuno. Keep it simple. Enough of getting some coach that played, for East Germany, had 2 games, played 2 games for them, and now he's not 84. You bring him in and say he used to be the head coach of the Super Eagles. The last time he was ever near a team coaching in the team was maybe in the 1980s. Enough of that. Enough of that. Because the NFF, they have been deceiving Nigerians. This is what they do. And tell me in the comments if I'm right or I'm wrong. When it comes to hiring a local coach, they go for the absolute worst one of them. When it comes to hiring a foreign coach, they go for one who's barely coached or who could barely remember what his coaching tactics used to be. Go there, get you a coach with a clear identity. I've said this again, a clear identity. Now, under Nuno, you may not get tippy-tappy football. You may not get having 85% of the ball, which I think possession is nice to have. It's a sexy thing to see. Wow, we dominated possession. But it's not super, super important to winning games. It's not. The important thing is having a plan to attack, having a plan of attack. And Nuno has a plan of attack. If you look at how he set Nottingham Forest up, there was that plan. There is that plan of attack, which is we're going to sit deep, we're going to time you, we're going to set traps for the opposition. Once they lose that ball, boom, counter-attack. A little counter-attack with two wingers that can check in on their stronger foot, take shots, or get past the fullback and put balls in for a center forward. And who is better? Who is the better center forward in the world right now than Victor Osimhen? Okay, maybe you say Erling Haaland. Okay, you say Harry Kane really at present. Okay, let's just give him some legacy flowers. Lewandowski. Okay, let's give him legacy flowers. But if you're talking about top 5, top 6 strikers, Victor Osimhen will be in there. And then, of course, Tolu Arokodare fits perfectly the style of play that Nuno plays. A big, powerful center forward that is just concerned with scoring goals. Scoring goals. Obina says one problem we have with our coaches is that they always overthink things and it always comes back to hunt us. Look at yesterday, Eric Chio should have left the back line before the South Africa game. True. The game versus Rwanda, you saw the team. You saw the defense working well. You saw Benjamin Frederick, you saw Calvin Bassey, all in tune, all in sync. You saw Bruno Yemachido, he had some shaky moments, but you saw him there, he was good. Ola and Nadia, they were all in sync. That would normally tell you, okay, going into this game versus South Africa, I'll go with this team. This defense, you change it up. Why? For me, what was more annoying wasn't just Ekong, although I would prefer Benjamin starting, but what was more frustrating was the fact that he decided to drop 2 left backs to play a center back at left back. Why would you do it? You have 2 left backs fit, not injured. Fit, available, you drop them and play the center back at left back. Overthinking things. Overthinking it. Then you go on to the attack. You had Tolu Arokodare, who had scored and has shown, and for me, I say, even besides Arokodare's goals, besides his goals, there are things he did in that game that for me, that made me say, okay, Victor Osimhen, of course, is the boss. He's the best striker we have right now. One of the best strikers in the world, right? So you're not going to exactly replace him with Arokodare. But what you can do is you can find a different way to attack, playing towards and playing through Arokodare. But what did he do? Whatever he was thinking in his brain got overly tactical, went into, nerd brain, researcher brain. He dropped Arokodare to the bench, played Dessas, took our best left winger, played him as a striking partner for Dessers. Why? Therefore, killing the left wing. Just ended the left wing. Shut it up. Shut down that left wing. And one thing with African football people don't get, especially when you look at, how South Africa were going on about that game. When you look at how they went on about the game, you knew what they were trying to do. You knew the pitch was bad. And what was even more frustrating was that he actually started, the whole idea was to play with long balls, bypass the midfield. And you went with someone that can't compete in the air. So that's why for me, I say, give me a Nuno. Go out there, give him a 4-year contract, and let's go. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Because the talent pool Nigeria has is mad. It's mad. A lot of people want to criticize the players. Not so much for me. Because this is my point of view when it comes to players. If you play Ademola Lookman as a left winger, if he struggles, if he can't get past his man, if he can cut in on his strong foot to shoot, if he can go in on the outside to cross, then I'll say, okay, he's struggling. Maybe he's not good enough. If you play Arokodare in the attack, number 9, he can't hold up the ball, he can't head the ball, he skies the ball upwards, then I'll say, okay, he isn't good enough. Drop him. But what I won't do is you take a left winger, play him as a 10, play him as a striker, and then he struggles because he's being played out of position. I can't criticize that player. I cannot criticize that player. I've said it about different clubs. You take a player, you play him out of position. How do you expect people to criticize that player for not playing well when you have him out of position? The problem some Nigerian fans have is they feel like the player can play anywhere. That's not it. So that's why I say again, give me a Nuno. And if you give me a Nuno, you give me someone like him, of his caliber, that keeps it simple. Let that philosophy, let his strategy, let the way he plays flow through all the age grade teams from 17 upwards, and even the NPFL. Every club, you play 4-3-3. Some people might now say, oh, but in England it's not that way, but in Spain it's not that way. Yeah, we have to catch up to them. So that's why we have to take a different approach. We have to catch up talent-wise, yeah. In terms of raw talent, yeah, produce as much as anybody. But success on the pitch, actually integrating those players to the national team, that is now the problem. So for me, 2 managers out there without a job, Mourinho, Nuno, give me Nuno. Yes, he doesn't play sexy football. Like Eric Chill, people love it because he always have more possession. But is possession really dominance? Dominance is controlling how the game flows. That's what dominance is in a football game. In life as well, controlling how things happen. Now, so a team can be super defensive. It can be sitting deep, but they're controlling it. They're setting traps for you. When you make this pass, we're ready to intercept it. When you want to make that pass, back to your number 6, we are there to latch onto the ball and hit on the break. And Nuno does that for fun with all his teams. I think it should come to the point where, and like I said, we have Eric Chell, yeah, he has his blame, passionately blame to bear. But the Nigerian Football Federation, they have a large portion of it to bear as well. Gusau has been poor. He has been an absolute disaster as an NFF chairman. He has been, let's face it. For every metric you use to judge a successful NFF chairman, he's failed. He's failed all of them. Qualify for World Cup XX. Qualify for AFCON, okay, we've done that one. But hiring coach, poor. First off, the AFCON ended. You know you were not going to go with Jose Peseiro. You knew you were not going to extend his contract. And then you dallied, you wasted time with the player, with the coach. And like I said, if a coach wants to go, if a coach no longer wants to be in a job, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to leave. He was going to leave, not necessarily physically, but psychologically. But psychologically, he will leave. He wouldn't really have motivation to give his best. So we had that with Jose Peseiro. Then, okay, Jose Peseiro is gone. Are we now ready to get you, that coach? They went on, got Finidi George, which was the worst appointment in Nigerian football history, in my humble opinion. You may think different, right? And then he struggled, he waffled, he fumbled about, cost Nigeria more points. Losing one game, drawing the other, so getting 1 point from a possible 6. Boom. We are where we are. And then you're thinking, okay, right now, the NFF, they found their man, they know who their man is. We had this talk about the German, the Labadi, they've got their man now. Then, what did we see? Boom. They went and and then they got Augustin Eguavon. To be fair, I think he kind of did well. And why did he kind of do well? Because even if he played with a 3 at the back, he embraced wing play, which is the core of Nigerian football. Anyhow you want to do it, any kind of flair, high pressing, low block, wing play. That is at the heart of Nigerian football. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. So people have said wing play is dead. Is Lamine Yamal a pharmacist? Is Nico Williams, a farmer? You say wing play is dead. Pedro Neto, who is he? Is he an astronaut? So wing play is still alive. It's still going on well. Just have to employ your tactics properly. Obeno says we really missed Osimhen yesterday. We should have pressed the back. We would have pressed the back line of South Africa. Fair play. I agree. And just to say something about Victor Osimhen, some people, some Nigerian football fans, I'll just say they're amazing people, right? They're super amazing. The kind of things that come up from their lips. One moment they're praising Barcelona for, high pressing, how they're able to press and squeeze their opponent in their own half. But when a Nigerian player does it, naturally, without being forced, without being coerced, they say, oh, he's just running around. Victor Osimhen, the officiating in the World Cup the World Cup qualifier has been poor because he scored a good goal against Rwanda. It was chopped off. But what I'm saying right now is, if you have a Nuno, you wouldn't have. Yes, Osimhen would have been a miss because, of course, he's the best striker we have now in Nigeria, head and shoulders above every other person. But it wouldn't have been such a big miss because a coach like Nuno would have just, okay, at Nottingham Forest, when Chris Wood is unavailable, I go with Taiwo Awoniyi. So for Nigeria, if Victor Osimhen is not available, I will go with what's his face, Tula Rokodare. Boom, clear identity. How I want to play, how he wants to play, clear, and the players understand it. Because we as fans, one thing we are guilty of, maybe I'm guilty of it sometimes, is we watch football and we think a player can play anywhere, it doesn't matter, you should play football. But if you think about yourself, if you put yourself in a player's shoes, right? Let's say you work in a hospital, you work as the admin staff or receptionist, and someone comes to you and says, okay, we need you to prescribe a drug for someone, prescribe medicine for someone. The person may be your boss, order you around, But are you sure you make the right prescription? No, you won't, because that is not your daily, that is not what you do. That's not what you're trained to do. You're still working in the hospital. Just you can call yourself teams. The doctor is part of the hospital team. You as an administrator are part of the hospital team. The nurses, they're part of that hospital team. Everybody, you know, have everybody has their role, and that's the same thing that should apply in football. In Nigerian football, that should be it. Look at the formation from those that watch along. When the information came up, I shook my head. I said, no, what is going on here? What is going on here? I kept saying, maybe the coach is saying something we don't see, but clearly there's something off. Even the games we've won, even the games that Nigeria have won under Eric Chill, even those games, there are still things that make you scratch your head and say, why has he done it? Because you don't see any high level impact. That thing, positive impact, what he has done affects the team, how he makes the team plays even better. Like in the Rwanda game, playing Olaina out of position. What benefit, what huge benefit did that give Nigeria in that game? Yes, we won it. The first leg in Rwanda. Yes, Nigeria won it 2-0. But did Olaina playing out of position give Nigeria some huge benefit in that game? No. And I say again, this is part of what goes wrong or is good that is wrong with modern day football. Coaches don't want to be coaches. They want to be freedom fighters. They want to be revolutionaries. They want to change the game. They want to write an encyclopedia on football, as opposed to just being good coaches, using the players they have with them. And Nuno is, I think, one of the last of a dying breed of coaches that just keep things simple, play your game. So Kagbo says, Nuno, he wants to be paid. Nigeria has a tendency of paying I'm sure you meant not paying their coaches. FIFA must act on that poor behavior. Yeah, FIFA must act. So that's the point. Maybe the NFF wouldn't pay him because maybe the NFF would fumble that. Because if you're getting a coach of the caliber of a Nuno, he would come in and possibly demand that his salary is guaranteed for the length of his contract. But for me, I think if you have certain partnerships in place, like you partner with an Aliko Dangote, for instance, so you could say, have a partnership with respect to the league. You can have some commercial rights in owning the league and marketing the league and revenue share. And part of the deal could be, we get a coach. Part of the deal is you pay the coach. You pay the coach. And you could get sponsors that could be ready to just pay the coach. Having a Nuno that just comes with a clear identity, game after game after game after game after game after game after game. Boom, clear identity. And the thing is, another thing that we don't see is the moment someone like a Nuno steps in to that dressing room, everybody instant respect. Instantly you're listening. Instantly you are listening. I have to say this again. Look at teams who are successful. They always have the base point of the talent they produce consistently. Look at Brazilian players. Even the worst Brazilian player, the one you make fun of that plays for your favorite club, that you make fun of, right? That you make fun of. He has skill. Maybe he doesn't have end product. I'm talking about the worst one. Let's say, for instance, I'm not saying this player is the worst one, but Manchester United fans, I know they always make fun of him. And now he's gone to Real Betis, Anthony. Irrespective of what you make fun of Anthony for, it's not he doesn't have skill. You may say end product, not so much, but he has skill. He has flair. So their football is based around skillful, jogo bonito, flair, flary football. That's what it's based around. That's what it's based around. And that should be the same thing for Nigeria. You close your eyes, you wake up, you have one pacey winger being born, whether it's in the within the shores of Nigeria or overseas, whether it's a dual national. Pace, skill, it's there. Our football should be based on that. Every other thing can be added as a plus. Because what Eric Chill is doing is absolutely crushing the identity of Nigerian football. He's crushing it. You might say it's a few games, but come on now. Now, if Eric Chill miraculously changes his ways, says, okay, I want to play this way, I want to use players in their natural position, in their favored position, okay, fine. But right now, he seems like he's one of these. And same thing I would say with Mikel Arteta, with Enzo Maresca. They're stuck in their ways. They're not going to change. So they live and die by their style of play. They don't ever change. You had the bloke at Southampton that I would personally hire and sack a million times, because he is just, for me, he epitomized, right? After the former coach of Southampton, now at Rangers, he epitomized everything wrong with modern day coaches, which is I pick a style of play, I keep losing, I still hold on to that style of play. People criticize the style of play, criticize that we are losing games back to back. I still stick to it. I say they don't know football. I say they're silly because they criticize me for not winning. And he got Southampton relegated. And possibly he's going to damage Rangers even further. So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from Eric Chill. He wants to stick to his guns, stick to what he's doing. And what he's doing, is it sustainable? Really? Is it sustainable? Look at the wingers we have. I'll be doing a reaction video to Trevon Sanusi. Exciting, skillful winger. I leave to play for Nigeria and England. Plays for Newcastle United. So if for whatever reason, somehow, some way, you're able to get, Trevon Sanusi to commit to Nigeria, and then you bring him on and you play him as a 10, or you play him as a striker. If he doesn't do well, people would criticize him. And one thing I want to address, because sometimes as Nigerian fans, we conflate issues. The fact that a player has dual nationality has nothing to do with his passion. Doesn't affect his passion for the game on the pitch. The fact that he's a dual national doesn't mean he's a bad player. Now, it doesn't mean he's a good player, but it doesn't mean he's a bad player. It doesn't mean that means he doesn't want to play for the country. That is conflation. And it's just something said out there that I personally don't agree with. People that say that they have the right to that opinion, but it's something I definitely do not agree with. Because all I know is he not a dual national, and how did he go out yesterday? It was injury. He was injured, and he's one of Nigeria's best performers. And he's one reason I'm looking at Nuno, because Nuno would come in and immediately look at him. Boom! I know your game. I know your game. I'm going to play you in that right back position. I'm not going to waffle about play at left back. He will look at Felix Argo. He will look at Bruno Yemachensy. Boom! Looking at you. You're the replica of Olaina on the left. I'm going to play you at that left back. I won't play you in midfield for any weird reason. Like, why I say Nuno again? I look at Chris Wood. Chris Wood was one of those strikers. He just, honestly, if you watch in the Premier League, Chris Wood is one of those strikers. I guess he's one of those strikers that can possibly earn a living playing football, but really is he a guy that draws your attention? But look at how he really impacted. He just affected Chris Wood's game immensely. So you can imagine Victor Osimhen under him, Tolaro Kodari under him, Rafael Durushinu under him. And that's the thing. We produce this 6'1" to 6'5". Now we have a 6'6" striker, like clockwork. You turn, you look, there's another one. You turn, you look, there's another one. So why are we not taking advantage of it? We cannot have a coach that will not take advantage of the strengths of Nigeria. Victor Orako, 6'4", or 6'3", another giant of a striker for Montpellier, still a young kid. So he's one of the ones maybe you're looking to gently reintegrate into the team. But what I'm saying is we always produce certain type of talent. So why not use them in their rightful position? Look at Filippo Telle, what he's doing for Basel. So if he's invited now, and he is a mono-national, because we keep talking about, oh, arrogant this, arrogant that. He just has Nigerian nationality. So if Otella is invited now, while we watch him at Basel, all the good work he's done it, playing as a left winger. That's very, very true. I agree. Playing as a left winger, cutting in on the stronger foot, scoring goals, dribbling players. And I said, oh, no. What we're going to do is we are going to keep him in the midfield. We are going to tie him up in the midfield. Robina says, why didn't he call Paul Onuachu? Yeah. And that is another thing why I say I want Nuno. Because you see how Fini the Judge used Paul Onuachu, and a lot of fans, and that's not just a thing with Nigerian football fans, that seems to be a thing that applies to fans all over the world. We see a striker struggle, we don't ask ourselves, why is he struggling? Is he being used rightly? If it's being used rightly and he still struggles, okay, that means it's not good enough. But that game, I remember that game Paul Onuachu played. Onuachu was coming back, searching for the ball in midfield. When he has the strength, 6'7", put the balls in the box, no one will contest with him. He will win everything. Either he would score or he will flick balls on for other people to take advantage of. But no. So for me, talent that Nigeria produces or that we produce lend themselves to a Nuno style of play. And that's what is super important. And that's where we all as Nigerians, we all as laws of Nigerian football have to hold the NFF accountable. 110%. Have to hold them accountable. Because it just feels like just hire any random coach to see anywhere. Hire any random coach. And that shows you that they don't really follow the football that they're meant to be managing, that they're meant to be administrating. They don't follow it, because if you follow Nigerian football, you would even the striker you think is not good, even the Nigerian striker you think is not good. Watch his physical attributes. Watch his physical. Okay, take for instance, Akko Adams. I rate him, but for me, it's just each time he's invited, he always picks up an injury around that time. It's kind of odd to me. But some people don't rate him. But look at his physical attributes: powerful, strong, pacey, can lead that transition. So why? So that means if a low, I wouldn't say low value, but if a striker that many don't rate can match up to those physical attributes, you know what the best would match up to. So that means ordinarily, you're going to play with a big number 9, 6 foot upwards. You're going to play with 2 pacey wingers. You're going to play with 2 powerful central midfielders. Onyedika, Chrysanthus Uche, just there for you on a plate. On a plate, right? Ubina says, I would like to ask, what has Waneri made himself available for a call-up? Now, this thing about call-up, right, is something that people have really been deceived by NFF and their cronies. Like I know they have journalists that they pay that have big following to come up with all sorts of nonsense, right? Because people say, oh, this Nigerian dual national, they're arrogant, they don't want to play for Nigeria. So I say all of them, the ones in Spain, the ones in England, the ones in Germany, all of them are arrogant. But the ones that choose to play for Morocco, they're humble, right? So how does it happen? How does it happen? Waneri is there. Waneri is essentially a layup. And I've said it before. The way Nigeria got Ademola Lookman is not a sustainable strategy. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to wait for the European country not to really value the player anymore, and then the player suddenly just choose to play for you. No, you must, if the player is of a good quality, because the European country as well, they want to win games. They want to go to the World Cup. They want to win the World Cup. They want to win the Euros. So they also want that player, and they have the right to want that player. Make no mistakes about it. So you two should be on your game, do your utmost to get the player. And that's why I say it's almost like there is no planning. You want a 10, you have Francis Onyeka, not Frank Onyeka, Francis Onyeka, Bayer Leverkusen player on loan at Bochum. You've got Ethan Nwaneri. Why not go for these players? Do your utmost to get one of them, if not both, in to come in. You have a 10. And then Cyril Dessers' life can be made a lot easier. That's if you're hell bent on playing him. So for me, that's why I say get us Nuno, a coach of that ilk, a coach that not just a big name, because I would have gone for some crazy name, maybe a Guardiola or one of those, that would be out of this world, outrightly impossible. But a coach that his style of play, his natural style of play, matches up with the players that Nigeria not only has right now in the national team, but overall in the general talent pool of Nigeria, whether it's grassroots within the country or outside of the country. It matches up. Shola, Onyubuchi Obasi, all these players. And people, some people are dancing to, some Nigerians make me laugh, honestly. Some people are dancing to what the the South African coach said, that you don't have any Nigerian in the Nigerian national, are you in the national Nigerian Super Eagles? Why? Why would you even take such a condescending comment seriously? Why would you? Why would you take such a condescending comment seriously from someone like that? Why would you take it seriously? And that shows that a lot of people don't know about like Christianus Uche. Wasn't he born in Nigeria, grew up in Nigeria? Even the ones who are born outside of Nigeria, they are still Nigerians. Let's get that straight. We need a coach that comes in and is serious about, that wants to win, has his declared identity, and implements it. And that's what Nuno would give us, would give the Nigerian Super Eagles a clear identity. A clear identity. And that's something that Nuno would give us. Nuno would give us. This defensive solidity is something we need as well. The attack is an issue, but the defense as well has been an issue. The kind of goals we considered just been pure utter jokes. Look at how Nuno sets up his team. I say, give me Nuno. Give me Nuno. It may not happen, but I just have to say my piece on it. It may not happen because obviously, the NFF, one, they don't like paying. They don't like coaches that they'll have to pay real market value. They'll probably get some coach that they'll pay some low figure, and they'll probably want someone they can boss around. And definitely you cannot boss Nuno, because that's one of the reasons he's leaving Nottingham Forest. That's one of the reasons he's leaving there, because he doesn't agree with some of the things that Marinakis, the chairman of Nottingham Forest, wants to do. And definitely, I don't think someone like Nuno would embrace, the NFF inviting some player that has played like 2 games, for 5th division Czech Republic team, Czech Republic club. because the NFF, for time and time and time, they have, for whatever reason, decided that what they're going to do is they would use the national team, the Nigerian Super Eagles, as a platform to give people a career boost, as opposed to inviting the absolute best players to play, in the team. So for me, I set my pace. I need Nuno Espirito Santo, Nuno Espirito Santo, to be Nigeria's next head coach. Because I look at Eric Chell, who will say, let him take Nigeria to the AFCON. I look at it and say, really, can we go far playing the style of play he wants to play? We don't produce those kind of players. And for me, I feel like you'll be taken away from your strengths. So why not go for a coach that plays in a way that suits the natural talent that you have? So let me wrap up with this. Getting Nuno is a coach like Nuno in. In fact, getting Nuno in as Nigeria's head coach would work a treat, especially if it's made mandatory for every age-grade team to go back to 4-3-3 and match the style that Nuno would bring to the table. Because what does he bring to the table? He brings the tactical acumen. He brings the gravitas, because he comes in instantly, everyone respects him. The style of play he will be playing is a style of play that matches up with everyone. So let's say Nuno was a Nigerian head coach. Maybe this is the formation he will go with. Maybe this is what we go with. A standard 4-3-3. A standard 4-3-3. A standard 4-3-3. And that's what we need. A coach that will just keep it simple. Keep it simple as opposed to complicating things. So let's say Nuno is a coach of Nigeria going into the AFCON, because to me, the World Cup qualification, I'm not going to be in that fantasy world, because that's it. So I think, looking at Nuno, I think probably he would go with the Felix Agu at left back. I think because he likes his fullbacks to be able to defend properly and hit on the counter as well. So he will go with him. Centre back, he will go with Calvin Bassey because of physicality. Going to walk. And then Benjamin Fredericks as well. I think he would go with him as well. And of course, he already knows Ola now, so that will be another one that will be ready to go. He would use 110%. That's what I feel if you get a Nuno in as a coach. And then, of course, he'll probably play with Chrysanthus Uche. Chrysanthus Uche in one of those deep midfield roles. And then he'll also play with Rafael Onyedika. That was another one. Rafael Onyedika was just invited to be wasted, not even used at all. Someone explain to me. Someone explain to me how that happened. Then we'll be in that 10 role based on the players that are available. The players that are available, so it goes with a new one. So now, doesn't this look a lot more balanced? Then the left wing, of course, that would be Ademola Lookman. Doesn't that look balanced? It does, in my opinion. And then, of course, the attack would be Victor Osimhen. That would be Victor Osimhen. And then you go on the other side, probably use Samuel Chukwueze, because he loves that pace and power business, right? He loves that pace and power business. So that's what you go with. So that's what he go with. Okay, and then so I'll share my screen. So isn't this a far more balanced formation? Isn't this far more balanced? Isn't this far more balanced? You know, the charts. Big question. That I think we have everything to get someone like that, but I do apart from the will. That is the thing. I don't think the NFF have the will to go for him, and maybe he still wants to be in club football. But come on, if you don't try, you don't get. If you don't try, this is a fair question, that Obin has raised. But the big question is, can we get Nuno? That's the big question. Does he want to do international football, or he wants to still remain in club football? That's the fair play. Will the NFF be willing to match his weight demands? I'm not quite sure they would be, because you would see people. Of course, you would, because you have these people who are like, they're not supporters. I don't see them as supporters of Nigerian football. They just support. They pick a part and support. Oh, we like local coaches. Oh, we like foreign coaches. So the moment you say you want to go for a Nuno, I want to pay him 5 times what maybe a chair would earn, or 5 times more than what maybe if Finidi would earn. So, oh, look at what you're paying this coach. But he's a better coach than all those coaches. He's a better coach than all those coaches. Then you see some that will say the funny thing of, oh, but if it was that good, why did this club sack him? Right now, I'm sure, even if it was possible to get Ancelotti, people will say, if he was that good a coach, why did he lose to Bolivia in his last game? Meanwhile, forgetting that Brazil have already qualified for the World Cup. And this looks like a far more balanced formation, right? And Ancelotti saved Brazil, because Brazil, they wanted to go for a homegrown coach, a home-based coach, and they got a home-based coach. And that coach almost destroyed Brazil in terms of qualifying for the World Cup. Because they're playing this weird formation where, no one really knew the position they were playing. The positionless football and all that nonsense. And they were losing games. Now, Ancelotti has come in. They appointed some other coaches along the line, but Ancelotti has come in, kept things simple. Vini, left wing, keeping it simple. João Pedro, number 9, simple. Play players in their favored position, as opposed to, just coming up with some crazy information in your brain and bringing it out there and say, okay, go play. Because that game versus South Africa was really, 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 really painful to watch, because he used one tactics that was not ever going to work with the players he had on the pitch. So a part of me was thinking, was he actually trying to sabotage his own team? Because make this make sense. Cyril Dessers, Ademola Lookman, they have to deal with winning headers. Jump up, take the ball on your chest, bring it down against defenders behind you with your back to goal. For me, I keep the same energy. When Maresca did it with Chelsea, you have Tyreek George playing with his back to goal, who's meant to be a winger. What sense did that make? It didn't make sense to me. And it also made no sense to me yesterday when Eric Chell came up with his weird information. So for me, Nuno maybe had to get, of course, but you have to try. You have to try. People say, oh, structure is the issue. Of course, structure is the issue. Structure is an issue. But also getting a coach that will use the talent that you have available to you properly is also an issue. You have more than one issues with Nigerian football. Grassroots football has an issue. You have the talent, but you don't have a structure around it. The league itself has an issue. The NFF, when it comes to hiring coaches, when it comes to getting players to commit to the country, is an issue. They have an issue. The coach himself is an issue. So now 2 things are involved in this. It's either Eric Chell is not that good, or he is not that strong. By that I mean the NFF are bossing him around, making decisions for him, deciding who's going to play. And if that's the case, then what's the point? What's the point? So either of those two scenarios don't work to move Nigerian football forward. So for me, like I said, I want Nuno, and I've given the reasons that I want him because things he does that just suits how this team, plays. It suits how this team plays. And look at how he set up his team, this Wolves team. I mean, this Nottingham Forest team. Set them up, set traps, hoping at the moment Wolves make a mistake, you set the traps, although he's there. So in Nigerian context, Ademola Lookman will be the one here. You have Achukwueze here, already setting traps. Once you miss that ball, boom, we get it. Victor Osimhen probably will be the one here, setting those traps, to take advantage of any mistake, any loose balls that would happen. And we haven't seen that from Eric Jill. We haven't seen that. The fact that Nigeria is not going to qualify for this World Cup, let's just accept it. That is done. What I'm talking about is AFCON and forward. The World Cup is done. Because even if you're talking about best second, right? There are like 4 or 5 teams that are already better than Nigeria in terms of second place finish. So that's not it. So let me know some opinions. I've had different comments on here. I'll go through the chats again to see if I missed out on any of them. Now I'll bring it up here. So summarize, as I said. Thank you on that one. I think I've seen this comment before. So thank you on that one. Thanks for that. Thanks for that one. Keep trying to do our best. We've started some membership of different membership tiers that if you want to join, want to see some exclusive videos, you can join that as well. Exclusive videos, behind the scene videos, talk about some other aspects of football that necessarily will come up on here. There'll be member only videos. You can also join those tiers, but just hold off a bit because I'm still preparing on getting those unique videos out there, for members of those groups. And then Obina said the same thing. I think we've seen it before. One problem we have with our coaches is that they always overthink things. That's true. So if you just joined the stream, thanks for joining. But what I'm talking about today is a coach that I think Nigeria needs. Like for me, if money was not an object, if I was to choose the next coach of Nigerian Super Eagles, I would go with Nuno. I would go with Nuno because you need someone who has clear identity, how he wants to play. That's what I would go with. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watched the stream, who's been watching from start to finish. Thank you. I hope you smash the like buttons, keep sharing the videos who that you feel will love content like this. And I'll definitely see you on yet another video. You have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay well and definitely stay blessed. Bye-bye.